Good, ready?
Yep.
Okay, we'll start the meeting for tonight, and we have our invocation by Councilman Trophy. Participation is completely optional, and Councilman Trophy, you lead the way.
Lord God, we thank you for this beautiful day. We thank you for this great country that we live in. We thank you for this earth that you created, that we may live upon and dwell and enjoy the beauty and wonder of it. We thank you for that. Lord, we pray for all those that are in need. We pray for peace in this country and in other countries, that the world would become less violent. We thank you for all of our service people that are overseas and contending for peace and freedom over here, so that we don't have to fight battles on our shore. Please be with them, bring them home safely. And Lord, we ask that you would guide this meeting and bless our decisions in your precious name.
Amen. And I call this meeting of the Deerpark Town Board to order at 7:42 p.m. And will Councilman Trophy lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, everybody may be seated. Okay, first order of business, roll call on attendance. Councilman Trophy.
Here.
Councilman Spears is not here. Councilman Dean.
Here.
Councilman Hoover is not here. Supervisor Brabenek is here. 3 members of the board having answered to their names, a quorum is present. Any additions and changes to the agenda? I have 2 additions to the agenda. One under new business, I move to add, to hire a part-time court officer. And is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Trophy. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries 3-0. Also, move to add budget officer's report for June of 2013 under appropriations, budgets, and payments of bills. Is there a second? Second. Seconded by Councilman Dean. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? And motion carried 3-0. Any further additions or changes to the agenda?
Aye.
Okay. We'll move on to our public hearing. We have a public hearing scheduled for tonight. I will officially open the public hearing at 7:45 p.m. on local law number 3, the Deerpark Road Protection Law. And will the town clerk read the public notice?
Public notice is hereby given that there has been presented to the town board of the town of Deerpark, Orange County, New York, on the 26th day of June 2013, a proposal of the law of the year 2013. Sorry about that. 2013 entitled Local Law 3 of 2013, a local law entitled the Town of Deerpark Road Preservation Law. A full text is on file for public review at the office of the town clerk, 209 Huguenot, New York, during regular business hours. Therefore, pursuant to municipal home rule law of the state of New York, the town board of the town of Deerpark will hold a public hearing on the aforesaid proposed local law in the town hall, room 209 Huguenot, New York, at 7:30 p.m. on the 8th day of July 2013, at which time all interested persons will be heard. Dated June 27, 2013, by order of the town board, Florence T. Santini, town clerk.
Okay, thank you very much. And we will open to the public. Anybody from the public who would like to speak about local law number 3 of 2013? Hearing none, I will move to the board. Does any of the board members like to speak about local law number 3 of 2013?
Yeah, I have some questions. How does this affect local and existing people in the town?
Okay, really what this is geared towards is major projects, big projects within the town, such as we have a situation where Rio Dam is being, there are upgrades being performed to Rio Dam. There are heavy trucks using our local roads through the contractor that is doing this improvement. Right now, there's no weight limits or local laws on the books to protect our local roads from being damaged by the heavy machinery. And we're not just talking about like 1 or 2 trucks that are going on the road. These are like 20, 30 trucks, sometimes 20, 30 a day that are going on the roads and can potentially cause damage. Same situation we have at Dragon Springs, where we're having 20 to 30 concrete trucks a day that are going on Galley Hill Road and destroying portions of the road. It was a recommendation by the highway superintendent and also the Highway Superintendents Association that many of the towns in Orange County have adopted a similar law. This is actually a model law from the Highway Superintendents Association and also the Association of Towns that we received from them. We pretty much boilerplated it and put town of Deerpark into the law. But it is basically to protect, with major projects that are going on, such as the one at Rio Dam or the one at Dragon Springs. This would really not affect our local businesses unless they're performing a major project on their property. So that was a question that was posed to me by a resident or by a local business owner. And really, let's say, for example, Dragon Springs was doing, I'm just using them as an example, Dragon Springs was doing a major project and hauling concrete up to their site using 20 or 30 trucks a day on Galley Hill Road. What would happen is, let's say they hire Peen Pack Sand and Gravel to haul that concrete up. Peen Pack Sand and Gravel would not be responsible for putting up this performance bond. It would be Dragon Springs because they are the ones that are initiating the project.
Doing the project.
Correct.
Okay, so the bonding is not like we have a few different sand and gravel operations, and that was my concern. I don't want to affect them. This will not impact them in any way, shape, or
There's
form.
also a waiver into the local law to protect any of the local businesses also, that we would have them sign a waiver, we waive any fees.
Right, in other words, well, because that's what, because they haul a lot of material like say out of Dick's,
Yeah,
so I don't want to do anything, it's a tough business atmosphere right now, I don't want to do anything to harm them in any way,
Right.
shape, or form.
this is more or less what,
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. The New York State DOT bridge up here on 209 in Cudbackville, they hauled loads and loads and loads of material out and took it up Martin Road and down Wood Road to Frankie Summerelli's property. I didn't know they were hauling it down there. I got a call from a resident to come up and look at the road, and they had destroyed it in the intersection of Wood Road and Martin Road. And we have no laws to protect it, so our taxpayers have to pay for it to have it fixed, It's not to put a burden on anybody that's local, like Dick's hauling up here. If they're gonna be doing a major job for somebody local, it would be the builder or the contractor that would be responsible to put up the bond and stuff like that. If like Carl said, Dragon Springs is doing that work up there. If they got Dick's Concrete or Peen Pack Sand and Gravel, it wouldn't be up to Peen Pack Sand and Gravel or Dick's Concrete to put up the bond. It'd be up to whoever's doing the job for Dragon Springs or Dragon Springs itself.
All right, so now at what time is this thing issued or required? At the planning board? Is that when this is, or?
Well, this would go through, it could go through the planning board process, would go through the building department as well. Any request for a waiver would have to be applied through the town board, and then there's certain requirements for a waiver as well. It's on section 21.
It also have to be posted in every entranceway into the town, saying that this is the law, so if they came in, they would see it. If we called up with them and they weren't doing it, we could put a stop work order on until they went through the procedures.
So I guess what my questions would be, and I mean, I haven't had a chance to read this law. I don't want to do an Obama healthcare act where I read it after I pass it. So I don't know that I'm going to be ready to vote on this tonight. But that questions again would be, that does not affect just traffic going through town.
No.
You know,
Like, I'll give for instance, Mel's Gas, it's not gonna bother them, it's not gonna bother, county waste, picking up the garbage,
Right.
so on and so forth. That there's a weight limit on the trucks that they have to meet, before they have to put it up, and there's also, like we discussed, the waiver that, we could waive, you know, if the garbage truck's gotta go and pick up the garbage and they're overweight, then we can waive that. It's more or less just a, we got 800 or 700 some trucks gonna be hauling, off of 42 down Rio, or Plank Road down Rio Dam Road, and it's barely made fit for 2 cars, you know?
now this
And-
doesn't affect apparently anything that's a state road. This doesn't.
No, all of our local.
Just all the tributary roads for
Yes.
town of Deerpark.
Correct.
All right.
Yeah.
And the, again, like guys delivering to and from Summit Research, that's not gonna
No.
require them to
No.
get anything special.
No.
That's an everyday operation.
Right, correct.
And that's just everyday.
It's more or less for any kind of heavy trucks that are doing heavy hauling for construction sites and so on. Yeah.
How's that gonna affect, a single or once in a while, somebody coming through town with a large dozer or a crane or?
If they're on a state road, they're fine. If they're coming in, I would say, if they're gonna be coming in with a crane or something like that, we could waive any of that, you know, but they're not gonna be working on our town roads or anything. They have to meet certain, check their routes and so on and so forth like that anyway, most of them when they come through. I know when they were taking the bridge down, they parked the cranes over at our place and they were sending them over Guymar for some odd reason, but they sent them over Guymar Turnpike to come into town. And I don't know why they didn't come right up 209 or whatever, but,
Because I know when they gotta set home, modular homes and things like that, that requires cranes. Is a guy gonna come in and set a house somewhere in town, he's gonna have to get a bond to do that?
I don't think that this law pertains to that. I mean, most of the cranes for setting modules are rubber tire cranes, and they're off our town roads setting them anyway. You know, it's not the actual one truck that weighs 90,000 pounds or something like that. It's the 90,000 pound trucks that are gonna be running up and down the road constantly,
Yeah.
5 days a week.
Yeah, and I understand that, but my part is, there's gotta be some differential someplace. And I haven't had a chance to read this to know where that is.
Well, like I said, there is a clause in there for the waiver. You know, I'm not gonna go run around and check and see if this guy's, if they get through and they see the sign and they go through with a crane and they go up on Beanbag Trail and pull up and start setting this guy's house. I'm not gonna go up there and say, hey, what are you doing? You know what I mean? And I don't think anybody else would. We're just to protect our, you know, roads.
We see
from-
something that could be potentially dangerous to
Right.
the roads.
Then
Because
it's
of the extreme impact.
Correct. Yeah.
We have a vehicle to approach
Yeah.
that.
Because under the purpose, I'll just read the purpose really quick. The purpose of this local law is to maintain the safety and general welfare of town residents by regulating high-impact commercial activities that have the potential to adversely impact roads and property. Well-maintained roads are important to the economic well-being of the town. Construction, maintenance, and operation of high-impact commercial endeavors such as timber harvesting, mining, natural gas drilling, wind energy facilities, and telecommunication facilities can be economically beneficial. This law is not intended to regulate such endeavors, but the intent is to protect the town roads and property from damage from such endeavors that typically require high-frequency use of heavy equipment with heavy loads. It is the intent of this law to ensure that the town roads are not damaged or harmed to the overall detriment of the town by a few individual users who utilize the roads in a manner that causes extraordinary deterioration to the roads. Heavier trucks deteriorate the pavement structure at an accelerated rate. Goes into a study for University of Texas, finding that one big rig pass causes the damage equivalent to 2,000 to 3,000 cars. That damage increases exponentially. A 95,000 pound truck does 2 or 3 times the damage of an 80,000 pound truck. So it just gives you, some of those statistics. But this is basically, the purpose of this is for, like I said, high impact, the highway
Right.
superintendent said, high impact projects, not everyday use. We're talking about, 20 and 30 concrete trucks a day using the route for a special project. That's what we're looking at with this.
I think, if I could add 2 cents here, I think what we're gonna have to do is we'll have to structure this not only through the planning board, but the town engineer and also the building department, so that, when there's, and Ed's office, obviously, because, this is how this all started. Everybody's gonna have to be somewhat diligent about something like this, because while, I'm a big proponent of like energy exploration and so on and so forth, but heavy-duty trucks carrying hundreds of thousands of gallons of water can have a heck of an impact. So, these are all things we have to look at. But I agree. We don't want to hurt any local businesses or any other outside businesses.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely
That's not
not.
the point here. The
No.
point here, obviously, is to keep our roads in as good a shape as possible.
Right.
And if in fact somebody's going to have a detrimental effect on it, then they got to pony up and they got to pay for it.
Right.
That's what this is all about.
Right.
So, I share Artie's concerns. We discussed it at length. Everybody had the same concerns, quite frankly.
Right.
So, I think we have to do this, and the biggest problem I see with this is not the implementation as much as the communication to people who would actually be affected by this. In other words, the project down at Rio Dam.
Right.
It's a perfect example. None of us would even have known about that if it wasn't for the town of Lumber.
Yeah.
So, this is the thing that we gotta figure out, how are we going to know? How are we gonna know when there's gonna be something like this and it's gonna affect us? So, everybody has to be aware. Your office.
Right.
Carl's office, town engineer, clerk's office. Everybody's gotta be, the antenna's gotta go up.
Right.
And again, it's repetitive, heavy impact, applications.
Yeah.
It's not a onesies, twosies.
And like I said, I'm not gonna ride around these roads and look for this guy
No.
that's hauling a few loads of gravel into a work site, It's more or less, if, I see somebody's hauling a lot of dirt up this road, I'm gonna go, hey, what are you doing, you need to stop right now, or Al and I, or whoever, and put a stop to it, and so you get this, bond covered up to protect our roads,
Log trucks, you got guys, hey, they're gonna haul logs, that's the
Right.
way it is, it's not.
Yeah,
I don't wanna see that affected.
right,
I'm looking for like just what's happening up at the Rio Dam thing, that's
Right.
what's gotta be watched.
correct.
Because those roads, we all know those roads are not made for that.
No, absolutely not, absolutely not.
And pretty much, the enforcement of this law would be under the highway superintendent, also the building and code inspector's office, and also our local police department and state police could enforce this law, DEC can enforce this law.
Right.
So, there are many different avenues, and communication is important to keep what we do, because, like we said, we were notified maybe 2 days or 3 days before the project actually started up in Rio Dam,
Yeah.
that was actually notified. So, which is a problem, because,
Yeah, I think they tried to pull a fast one by us because they've always contacted me when they were gonna close the dam down or, stuff like that. And they never once called me and said, hey, and then when I spoke to the guy, he said, well, we're gonna have meetings every month. And I said, well, where are you having the meetings at? And he said, town of London. And I said, well, you're using our roads, maybe you really should call us and let us know about it,
And it does give provisions too for, a local business owner that may have a hardship with this,
Right,
where the town board can consider that waiver for them.
right. Yeah, like I said, I don't, use another one, Melzan Gas comes down and says, hey, we're not gonna, it's not for that. It's not for, clean pack sand and gravel. It's not because of Dick's Concrete. It's not, Dick's Concrete may be doing the job for Dragon Springs, and Dragon Springs should be held accountable for the way the roads look,
And we've really, and I was kind of described, we've actually had this problem, for a few years already,
Yeah.
where there's just been high volumes of concrete truck traffic on Galley Hill Road, and that road was not intended for that at all.
Right.
And there's no mechanism in place right now to even regulate that and to protect that road. And that's one of our primary complaints or concerns from the residents in Galley Hill Road is that high truck traffic, and that, it's not even feasible for us to repave the road,
Right.
knowing that
That's
it's
gonna be going on
destroyed.
for who knows how long. I mean, you don't know.
Right.
Could be 15, 20 years that this project's gonna be going on up there, and I don't think our taxpayers will be funding the bill for it.
Now, is this something we're gonna have to we're gonna have to make a note in the zoning about?
I don't believe so. I think it's sort of standalone.
Right.
So you have to put signs up at each end of the town? or-
Coming in every entranceway into the town, there would be a sign stating that, if you're gonna be doing any kind of this kind of work, that you'd have to stop and get the proper permits and put up the proper bonds.
Do we have the verbiage for those signs for the association?
No, we have to get that.
Yeah.
Well, we should get that, so we can look at that.
Yep.
I'm looking at this, like, under definition, it says high frequency truck traffic. I don't mean to be stupid, this is a vehicle or related vehicles that have 3 or more axles which transverses travels over town roads or other town property during any 5 consecutive days. What does that mean? So if a guy, this, to me, says that if Dick's is operating 5 days a week, that they would be.
If they're operating on the same road, hauling in for the 5 straight days, then it will be, they wouldn't be required to. Whoever they're doing the job for would be required to.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but there's a waiver. clause.
Yes, and there is a
Yeah,
waiver,
sure.
yes.
And there's two different, there's individual permits, there's blanket permits that can be done. There's some, differences between the two. Also, road maintenance agreements can be done through this local law with the contractor.
What do you got to add, Glenn?
I mean, candidly, I'm concerned about the waivers,
Okay.
because if you grant a waiver to person A and don't grant it to person B is likely to say discrimination, lawsuit. I understand the desire to protect local businesses, but unless basically you say anybody who's already involved in such a business is exempt, that's the way to protect the local businesses. But then, of course, you're impacting anybody who wants to bring a business into town,
Sure.
which may be a different problem for the board. But I'd be concerned about, whenever you apply the law to somebody and not somebody else,
Right.
no matter what the rationale, there's the possibility of a complaint.
Well, I see an awful lot to digest here.
I mean, under the request for the waiver, it says no waiver shall be granted. However, unless the town board finds and records in its minutes that A, granting the waiver would be keeping the intent and spirit of this local law and is in the best interest of the community. B, there are special circumstances involved in that particular case. C, denying the waiver would result in an undue hardship to the applicant, provided that such hardship has not been self-imposed. D, the waiver is the minimum necessary to accomplish the purpose. So it's, looking at the waiver, it's very similar to like a variance in the zoning board,
Right.
in my opinion, just taking a look at that.
What page is that on?
That's section 21.
Section 21?
Have you approached these guys?
Which
The
one?
Ryle Dam project guys?
Yes.
Have you explained this to them?
Yeah,
And they said,
well, we're gonna come down through there. You have no local laws protecting and saying that they can't, so.
in other words, they said they stick it.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
And
See,
if there's
Lumberland stopped them because they have this local law saying that they can't do it unless you put up this permit. So they said, okay, we'll come down through Deerpark.
Because you don't have a local.
You don't have a local law.
And the problem is, the road can be destroyed at any time now,
Yeah,
and we're responsible for
correct.
When's this project start?
it. It's ready to
Started,
go.
started the day we were up there.
Well, it's just too late to do anything with them.
It's too late to do anything now, but they're, you know, I mean, even, who knows when the next time they're gonna do it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're up there every year working on that dam,
Right.
um,
All right.
or the bridge going across the dam,
Do you
so.
have any authority to actually shut down a job if the roads are being destroyed?
I believe I do, right, Glenn? If they're causing a hazard to our road and damage our road, I can
I don't think you can stop the project, I think you can stop the deal.
stop the vehicle from traveling on that road, right? Can't stop the project, but I can stop them from
Well,
traveling.
because at that point it becomes an unsafe road.
Right.
So why couldn't that be done now?
Right. Why can't-
Because then it may be after the fact that I find out that this road's damaged, and then we're still paying for it.
Yeah, but right now, we know that they're using the road.
But that doesn't mean they have to pay for it.
Well, wait a second. If they can't use the road because of damaging the road, making an unsafe condition for the people in the town, I should think it's our responsibility to stop that until such time as we make
But
some
if they're,
accommodation.
what I'm saying is if they're not damaging the road,
Well,
I
are they
can't.
or aren't they?
Well, as of right now, they're not.
Okay.
But I'm saying if they're, I can go up there tomorrow and they did, who's gonna pay for it? They're not.
They're not gonna finish their job unless they do.
There you go.
Because you're not gonna let them back over that road.
But we
What
can't
about it,
mandate,
you know?
We can't manage.
we can't
it.
mandate to fix it.
Well, you just say, well, you're just not coming over a road. How are you gonna finish your project?
Because then I gotta fix it, because it's a danger, and then who's stopping them from going back over it again? I don't know, I'm asking, so I don't know.
I mean, this is called the pinch move, you know, where it's time to negotiate.
Yeah, I totally understand, but what I'm saying is, I'll give, for instance, they go up there and they sink the road in to where it's impassable. I can't leave the road impassable, I have to go up and fix it.
Understand.
So I tell them, okay, you can't travel this road, but then I fix it and make it so it's passable again. Are they allowed to go back on it, because now the road's passable again?
I think, why can't you put a weight limit on it?
Sure.
Well, that was my,
Yeah.
Well, that's
I
not-
don't know if they're, they state man, huh?
But you gotta do it by each street by resolution,
Right.
the town board resolution.
And I think they might
We talked
even,
about it a month ago.
Yeah.
bridges are different, you can weight limit, I think, a bridge, but I think it might be even the roads, like with speed limits, might be mandated by the state also, or,
Well, the state, you can't do anything with the state, but on the.
no, I'm not talking about the state, I'm talking about, you can't lower a speed limit on the town road unless you go through the state. The state has to approve the speed limit to be reduced. I don't know if that's the same thing with the weight limit or not.
You can do a weight limit on the town roads. Individually, you know, you can pick, you know, certain roads for different purposes. I mean, it could be because of the condition of the road, it could be because there's, you know, 20 families with little kids and you don't want a lot of high-speed traffic on it, you know, with big trucks. You know, a dead end, there's no place for them to turn around. You can do it, you know, anywhere you want. And it doesn't have to be because of a bridge. Usually, that's the case. The bridge is the limiting factor on it. But you know, you can do weight limits.
Well, then you're falling, you know, if you go up and say, okay, I'm gonna put a 25-ton weight limit on Ryle Dam Road, that's gonna stop them from working there pretty much. But then it's gonna stop Al Shop from going up and delivering concrete across that road also.
Yeah, but again, my thought process at least is, if you do this, if you put a weight limit on it, you stop it, everybody's gonna go, okay, all right, what do we gotta do here to get this worked out?
Right.
That would be my reaction if I were running the project.
Yeah.
I would wanna say.
Well, it's the only thing that I think we could do, that would be an immediate help at this point. Because this is an after the fact thing, and you're not gonna, it's not gonna impact it.
No, well, I think it's after the fact already. I mean, they've hauled in 3/4 of what they're gonna be
Oh,
hauling
so
in.
this project's almost.
Yeah, it's probably gonna go on for another month or so. They gotta haul some concrete in there, but, you know, we went up, last week and down on the turn by the dam, the road caved in. It wasn't because of them, because the culvert that was underneath is collapsing and, you know, but who says it wasn't from them?
Right.
You know, that culvert could have been there for 20 more years, I don't know.
Yeah, without the pound.
But I'm just looking at that, you know, I'm a little sick of these people going across the roads thinking they can do what they want to do and they're not held accountable and our taxpayers are paying for the damages.
I agree.
Yeah.
You gotta find an answer.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, are there any further comments regarding local law number 3 of 2013? Okay, hearing none, I'll move to close public hearing at 8:12 PM. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Dean. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all opposed? And motion carried 3-0. Okay, next on the agenda, opening board comments. Councilman Trovey?
Done at this time.
Councilman Dean?
I'd like to welcome our associate, Councilman Trolley, back home.
Thank you.
And I understand you and your wife had a great trip.
Very nice.
So, but we're happy to see you, and nothing like starting it off with something like this. So, welcome back, Art.
Thanks.
It's all good.
Thank you.
And I have no opening board comments. Presentations and communications, there are none for tonight. So we'll move on to approval of minutes of the previous meetings. We have the minutes from June 24th, 2013. Seeing the 3 members present, I know you were not here. We aren't able to pass those, so I'll move to table till the next meeting. Second. Second by Councilman Dean, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all opposed? Motion carried 3-0. Okay. Public comment period, 3 minutes per person, agenda items only. Town clerk, do we have anyone for public comment? Thank you. Under new business, we move to consideration of local law number 3, road protection law. This is the local law that we were just discussing in the public hearing. I believe we have up to 60 days, is that correct, after close of public hearing? To make a decision or to vote?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm not even sure that there's a 60.
There's not even a 60-day limit, it could just be pending? All right. So we could vote on this tonight, we could table to the next meeting. It's up to you.
Motion to table.
Second.
Okay, moved to table by Councilman Trovey, seconded by Councilman Dean. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? And motion carried 3-0. We'll table that to the July 22nd. Next, we have resolution number 18 of 2013, support of the Cornell Highway School Program. We received a letter from Cornell University, and we can have our highway superintendent speak a little bit about this. Every year they have a local roads program that's been providing technical assistance and training for local highway officials through the cooperative extension. They've been doing this since 1951. The roots of the program go back to 1930. They again do this every year. 1984, they received joint funding from New York State Transportation Department, Federal Highway Administration, allowed them to expand the program. They do quarterly newsletters, 50 to 60 one-day workshops on a variety of topics. It's very, very similar to Association of Towns training, and I believe our highway superintendent has been participating in that program. What's happening is the program coordinator is retiring within the next year. And there are proposals to, I believe, eliminate the program.
The dean of the college.
The dean of the college is trying to eliminate the program. So what they are asking, or the local roads program is asking, is that municipalities pass resolutions in support of the program and ask Cornell University to continue the program for our highway superintendents. It was requested by our highway superintendent that we pass such a resolution. I am always been in favor of good training for our public officials. I believe this is a good program, and I would be in favor of this resolution. We don't have a copy of the resolution in front of us, but basically what it would be it resolved that the Deerpark Town Board supports Cornell University's local roads program and encourages Cornell University to continue the program in future years.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, moved by Councilman Dean, is there a second? Seconded by Councilman Chovy. This is a resolution, so we'll do roll call vote. Councilman Chovy?
Yes?
Councilman Dean?
Yes.
Supervisor Broderick, yes, and the resolution is adopted 3-0. And we will put a copy together of that resolution and send along with a letter from our highway superintendent to the program, or to Cornell University. All right, next on the agenda is our 10-day notice report from the building department regarding the attractive nuisance properties, and this is dating back to our last meeting on 6/24. We have our town engineer and our assistant building inspector, Al Fusco, here with us tonight to make a report.
Sure. Yeah, we had inspected the buildings before, we've given our report before. There's an additional building as well, which is the next one on the agenda. And the 119 of the code sets forth how we should proceed at this point. Since we have determined on 2 of them that they are dangerous buildings. On the 3rd one, the building department has made a recommendation that it be demolished. We can treat them all the same because this section of the code says that the town board can agree with the building department and order it demolished. We have to afford the owners of the ability to have a hearing. We have to set a hearing between 10 and 30 days from the date of our order. So I suggested July 22nd at 7:30 for all of them. Furthermore, we would be issuing in that letter, there's a draft here that I gave you all that will be changing slightly. I went over it with Glenn. And we're ordering them to demolish it within 30 days, begin the demolition through the building permit, get a demolition permit through the building department, and have it completed in 60. If not, the town can have this work done, place a bill against the property that would be a lien. In our case, the county would pay off the lien and they would have to collect it, so we would be made whole. The hearing has to be within the 10 to 30 days because we're ordering them to start the demolition within 30 days. So they need to be able to come forth with whatever information they have, which they feel would be compelling enough for us to change our position. For example, if they came to us with a structural engineer's report with a plan saying that we're going to completely renovate this and we'll start it within 2 weeks, we might consider it. Knowing the nature of these buildings, I don't believe that's going to happen. They would all be treated the same way. We would send letters out, assuming that you pass the appropriate legislation this evening. Tomorrow, notices will be sent out for the July 22nd hearing date, at which time at 7:30 we'll have the hearings back to back. And it's not a public hearing, so to speak, it's a hearing on behalf of the owners or the owners' representatives.
All right, so that concludes that report. This is on this is concerning the two properties, section block and lot 29-1-4.1, address of 1 Trails End.
Where's Trails End?
And Trails End,
Where's Trails End?
Isn't this in
The private
Cutterback?
road inside some.
Isn't that in Cutterback?
Trails Road?
That's in Cutterback, though.
Yep.
Thank
That's
you.
in Cutterback.
It is a private road. And also section block and lot 21-12-6, 15 Old Road. That's located.
61? Where's that?
No, that's,
15 Old Road?
Oak Ridge Park.
Yeah, for the bridges.
Oak Ridge Park. All right, so those two properties, those letters are scheduled to be sent out. I would move that we set public hearing.
Is there a third one here?
There is, we'll move on the third one because it's different, or somewhat different. Same but different. So we'll move on these two properties since they're from the last meeting. Set public hearing on those two properties for July. Here's a question. Do we need to have separate public hearing schedules for each section, block, and lot?
You have to schedule them all for 7:30 or as soon thereafter as they may be heard. And then there would be a separate hearing for each.
Separate hearing for each, okay. So I would like to set public hearing for section, block, and lot number 29-1-4.1, 1 Trails End at 7:30 PM on July 22nd, 2013, at the Deerpark Town Hall, 420 US Route 209. You do. There a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Dean. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all opposed? And motion carried 3-0. We'd also like to set a public hearing for section, block, and lot number 21-12-6, 15 Old Road in Cutterbackville, New York, to be set on Monday, July the 22nd, at 7:30 or at a time thereafter. At Town Hall, 420 Route 209, Huguenot, New York. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Dean, all in favor? Aye, all opposed? And motion carried 3-0. We also received reports of another building which is in serious disrepair, which is another building as a house located section, block, and lot 20-1-34.13. This is 1151 Route 209 in Cutterbackville. The deal with this property is that it's been abandoned for at least a year or two. There's garbage inside the property or inside the house. It's attracting animals and rats that are going into the neighbor's yard. It's becoming a massive problem. Our building inspector has been unable to locate the property owner. So, move to set public hearing July 22nd, 2013 at 7:30 or thereafter at Town Hall, 420 Route 209, Huguenot, New York. So
Second.
second by Councilman Dean, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all opposed? Motion carried, 3-0. Okay, next on the agenda, accommodation for Deerpark police officers. We received a letter from a Mr. Victor Presto of Waxon, Pennsylvania, addressed to the Chief of Police. Dear Chief Werner, I am writing I'm writing to you to commend both Police Officer Kalen and Sergeant Sullivan. On Wednesday afternoon, June 19th, at about 4:15 p.m., I was stopped by Officer Kalen. I had no idea why, and in courteous and professional manner, Officer Kalen informed me that the registration of the vehicle I was driving was revoked. Needless to say, I was unaware of this problem. The car belonged to Healy Brothers Lincoln dealership. Realizing that regardless of ownership, I was driving the vehicle and therefore subject to serious consequences, I was quite nervous. Officer Kalen acknowledged that the real guilt belonged to Healy Brothers Lincoln and that he was not going to summons me. I really appreciated this courtesy that he extended to me. He continued to go above and beyond by arranging with a reluctant Healy Brothers Lincoln to have someone bring out a dealer plate so that we could be on our way. I could not believe the disrespect Officer Kalen endured from this dealership. They wanted me to drive the improperly registered car back to Goshen. Naturally, Officer Kalen could not allow this for what I believe to be two reasons. First, it would be illegal. Secondly, he was concerned that I would be pulled over again and not be so fortunate with the outcome. Officer Kalen had opted to flatbed the car away and leave, had the option to flatbed the car away and leave us stranded. He chose to allow Healy Brothers Lincoln to bring a dealer plate. My wife and I believe in our hearts that we truly met one of the kindest law enforcement officers to wear a badge. Sergeant Sullivan is also to be commended for her professional conduct as well as her compassion for my wife and I and the support she gave Officer Kalen in this situation. In closing, I would like to express my appreciation to you, Chief Werner, for I am sure that your leadership has inspired these two fine officers to be what they are today. So congratulations to Officer Kalen and Sergeant Sullivan. It's always nice to get positive letters from the public regarding our police department. So again, thank you, Mr. Presto, and hopefully we won't have to pull you over again. Okay, moving on. Beamer Road resurfacing update. Our highway superintendent, come on up, or you can actually talk to us. That's good too.
Yeah, unfortunately, the weather has set us back and the company that's going to resurface the road a few days. They come in and wanted to do it last Wednesday, but because of the holiday, the 4th of July holiday, I asked them to hold off till the following week, and they told me that it would be on a week from today. They couldn't do it this week, they would have to wait till a week from today because they had another job scheduled. So, what is it? July 15th, they are scheduled to come back in and resurface that road.
Any questions on the Beamer Road update? So July 15th, if you're watching, July 15th, the road will be resurfaced. Weather permitting. We've had some weird weather lately, so hopefully the weather will cooperate. Next on the agenda, discussion of littering and enforcement strategy. We've had consistent problems over the years with dumping and littering in the town. We've passed legislation, local law, that increased the fines and penalties for doing that within the town. We have probably one of the strictest laws, I would imagine, in the state of New York regarding littering and dumping. However, the problem is always catching the individuals that are doing this. And our law enforcement officers have been working diligently trying to do that, but again, it is very difficult to do because it can be done in an instant, and there's no way to find out who the people are. So, idea was brought up by Councilman Dean. I yield the floor over to him, and we can talk about that.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. What I would like to do, what I propose to the board, is to invest in a cellular trail camera, commonly used for tracking game in the woods. We're tracking game here too. They're called slavs. And what I'd like to do is to request, I think when it's all said and done and all the ancillaries you need here, I'd like to buy one of these cameras and the equipment that we need, or like the town to buy, it's gonna be around $500. And while that's rich, if it works and council is successful in court, we have a $1,000 fine for some of these things. Yeah, so the possibility exists that we could actually pay for this in relatively short order. I will need some assistance from perhaps Tom, because I am challenged when it comes to all these cell phones and laptops and so on and so forth. But I mean, I've handed out some information for everybody to look at. The way this works, you set it up. You put it where traffic, normally you find all this garbage on the road, and it shoots pictures at night, during the day. It uses infrared light so that the person driving at night can't see the flash. It takes these pictures, you can remotely control it from your office if you want, or the police officer's office, or the chief's office, whatever. In other words, I don't want to run the thing because I'm not really up to speed on it that much, but this gives us an opportunity for a relatively inexpensive amount of money to see if we can make this work. And the camera's mobile enough that we can move it around. Take it up on the turnpike, because that's a constant struggle. Any place really we want to set the thing up. So I would ask the board's indulgence here to try to move forward on this, and at least come up with some way, hopefully, to catch a few of these people.
I think it's a fantastic idea. And as we know, a lot of times video does hold up in court, especially when you catch them red-handed. So, to some extent, of course, there's always a loophole somewhere. So, I would move to authorize the purchase of up to $1,000 worth of video equipment for this purpose, and to place these cameras or camera in various points of the town. Is there a second?
No second for the purpose of discussion.
Seconded by Councilor Tromey. We'll move to discussion.
Glenn, how admissible would a picture like this be to the rest?
If you can make out the person who's actually doing it, it's a home run.
Is it okay?
If all you're limited to is the type of vehicle with a license plate, then I need to do some research in terms of how they do that. Because, for example, in New York City, they take a picture of your license plate, the owner of the vehicle, whoever it's registered to, they get a monetary fine in the mail, no points. The reason that there are no points is because they don't know who's driving the vehicle. Well, the same type of thing would fit in here. Our current littering law it has the offense classified as a misdemeanor. With the misdemeanor, there's jail time available. It involves lawyers legally. It's a whole bunch of things. And I don't think, if there's no picture of the individual, I don't think that it would be particularly helpful at that level. However, if there may be a way to have kind of two different things, you know, a misdemeanor and now a lesser offense, where we can basically bring in the owner of the vehicle and say, you're getting this ticket, that's an offense, not a crime. You're getting it because your car was involved. So you figure out who was driving at this date and time, and you get the money from them, but we're getting the money from you. Have a nice day. So I think that it could be very effective depending upon what images are captured.
And will we just have to do an amendment to the local law?
Yeah,
Do
we
that?
probably have to do a new local law that has two different subdivisions. One that could be a misdemeanor, and then one that could be an offense. And, I mean, you could still charge the misdemeanor in each event, but that's something that I think that we should talk about at some point, just in terms of whether or not there are actually costs that outweigh the benefits of having it classified as a misdemeanor.
Well, obviously, we want to keep this cost effective, and we want to try to get as much
Dave, how's that secure, how's it secured to the tree? Can you lock it?
Yeah, you can, there's a box actually, a steel box that you, it's like a suit of armor that goes over the thing.
Okay.
You know, because, yeah, my concern is the same.
Right.
You know, somebody's gonna see it, and they're gonna go, oh,
Yeah,
and they're gonna come at it with a baseball bat.
yeah.
Well, that'd be great, because you're gonna get lots of pictures of them swinging the bat.
That's criminal mischief, that is a misdemeanor.
There you go. So, listen, we gotta do something. I'm telling you, Ed, you know, once the snow melts,
Yeah.
welcome to trash work, you know, it's a disgrace.
I go around every day and pick stuff up.
Yeah. It's a disgrace.
I think we can authorize the purchase of the equipment.
Yeah.
What kind of equipment would be a question mark, whether it's this or something else.
Yeah.
We can
that's fine.
ask for some technical assistance
Tom
from
can
either
help
my
us with
brother or someone else,
Absolutely.
and then we can figure out, also, down the line, or in the next maybe few weeks, we can figure out an amendment to the local law for the littering and make those changes and get that all into effect and start the program.
If you do the highway law, or even if you don't, at the entrances to the town, you ought to have signs on littering.
Right.
And that you have this video equipment, because that alone may stop some people. Well, it might load up lumber in, but.
You don't know where it's gonna be shown,
Well,
videoed.
Just
Yeah, I
telling
mean,
you
I
that.
know, we've started monitoring Space Park with video, and we put a sign up saying 24-hour surveillance, and that's actually helped a
Yeah,
great deal.
It helps great.
So,
Even a couple of dummy cameras. Just buy
Yeah.
some of those protection boxes without the cameras.
There you go.
I've done that.
all right, so we have a motion and a second on the floor of up to $1,000 to purchase video equipment for this initiative. And any further discussion? I'll call the question. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes. And all opposed? And motion carried 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good.
Next on the agenda is the hiring of a part-time per diem court officer. This is a court officer to replace Dean Sinsaba, who recently has put in his resignation for health reasons. We put this out on Facebook, also our internet website, to get applications. We received about 8 or 9 applications back, which was a good amount. One of the things that we did require any of our applicants to have was a full carry permit. That kind of whittled it down to about 4 people. We had interviews, or we conducted, 4 or 5 people conducted interviews with the town justices. Since the town justices will be working with them, I told them to make a selection to recommend to the town board. They have chosen an applicant. His name is Louis Taliento. He is a Deerpark resident, lives on Neversink Drive, and does have previous experience in corrections, has his full carry permit, is a member of the Huguenot Fire Department. So, looking at the interview, everything checks out. I would move that we hire Mr. Louis Taliento, effective immediately, as a part-time per diem court officer, the rate of $12 per hour, to be worked as needed, pending a satisfactory background check and firearms qualification. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Chobe. Any questions? Comments, concerns?
I have a question before you vote.
Yes.
Are you suggesting that he's gonna start working before the background investigation?
No, pending.
Or the other way around?
That would be pending satisfactory background check and firearms qualification.
So he's gotta do those things
Before he can start. like,
Okay.
Physically working.
And I'm
yes.
good with you.
Oh, yeah. No, he definitely has to do that before
Did you see me duck?
that happens. So, yes.
You're worried about-
Currently, we have a police officer
Let me see if I can
working
get some sympathy type.
on that. Obviously, that's costing the town a little bit of money because it's coming out of the police budget. So, the sooner the better, I'd say. But he seems to be a very upstanding guy, so we'll see what happens. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all opposed? And motion carried 3-0. Congratulations, Mr. Taliento. Okay, that's it for new business. We'll move to appropriation, budget, and payment of bills. We have the payment of bills with 3 or more council signatures for general fund abstract number 12 of 2013, the amount of $119,906.83. Highway fund abstract number 12, $28,445.59. And engineering abstract number 3 in the amount of $1,750. I'll move that we pay those bills with 3 or more council signatures for those abstracts, and that the abstracts are available at the Deerpark County Clerk's office. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Dean. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? And motion carried 3-0. Last, we have Budget Officer's Report for June of 2013. In front of you, this is a report printed out for General Fund and Highway Fund. These are year-to-date totals, budget as compared with where we're at right now. This is as of 7/5/13. This was printed out. Or actually, this is through July 8th. My apologies, through July 8th. So, any questions, comments, concerns?
Need time to look it over.
But definitely look that over. We do have to accept the report.
Motion to accept the report.
There's a motion to accept the report by Councilman Dean. Is there a second?
Second?
Second by Councilman Tromey. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? And motion carried 3-0. The report will be available at the Deerpark Town Clerk's office. Okay. Closing board comments. Councilman Tromey.
Actually, sorry.
That's good. All right, Councilman Dean.
Well, I'd like to, again, thank TJ for his professionalism with the stop he made and the way he treated our guests concerning their expired registration on their rental car. That's when you use your head to come up with a good solution. And I appreciate it, TJ, thanks. Also, appreciate the support on chasing down people who throw garbage around out the window in our town. And I would encourage you, if you live on a road, if there's garbage in the side of it, I would encourage you to grab a bag once a week, go out, take a walk, pick it up, take it home. If you want, bring it to my house, I'll take it to the dump for you, because it's just not good. I mean, you drive up and down the roads, it looks terrible. So, please make an effort. If you're throwing stuff out, take it home, throw it in the garbage can. It really is disgraceful. Again, welcome back, Mr. Trovey. I'm glad you had a great time. That's what I got.
Now that you talked about, I do have one thing, just to feed upon what you're saying. Today, with everybody with cell phones, with cameras on, if you see somebody illegally dumping garbage, take your phone out, take a picture, get it to the police department in Deerpark, and you can be a help patrolling our own grounds and keeping it clear.
All right, thank you. And I only have one piece of, for closing board comments. This is concerning the Community Development Office of Orange County. They will be holding office hours, mobile office hours, tomorrow, Tuesday, July 9th, from 1 to 2 p.m. at the Deerpark Town Hall. They're going to be at the Port Jervis City Hall from 2:30 to 3:30 p.m. at 14-20 Hammond Street. If you can't make it in the afternoon, you've got to make it in the morning. Tomorrow morning, they'll be at Otisville Village Hall from 11 to 12. And at Walk Hill Town Hall in the town of Walk Hill, 99 Tower Drive, from 9:30 to 10:30 in the morning. What the mobile office hours are about is to discuss community development program, or various programs that the Community Development Office offers. One of the most popular community development programs is a 0% home improvement loan, which has a deferred payment option. This program affords income-eligible residents the opportunity to have general repairs done to their homes, which may include weatherization, barrier removal, and heating system replacements. Funding of up to $20,000 is available for these activities. So that's primarily what it's about, but there are other programs that community development offers. So I encourage you to go to this mobile office program. That is all I have for today. Does anyone have anything else to come before the board? Okay, Town Clerk, do you have anything?
Yes, I do. I'd like to inform the board that Home Depot was here today. Lori, a representative from Home Depot, I had called her a couple weeks ago. We were approved for a grant. I asked her if she could help me with the memorial outside. It's kind of looking into disarray with the greens, and grass got burnt, and I just don't know what to do with it with the weeds and stuff, and asked her if she could help. Home Depot granted us a grant, and they're gonna replace all the grass. They're giving us pavers. They're gonna paint the benches. They're gonna put down new pavers. They're gonna put a walkway into the memorial entrance, new flowers, flags. They're gonna spruce up the whole memorial, all of Home Depot. August 28th, 8 o'clock in the morning, they're gonna bring a team here of workers, gardeners, and everything, and it's Home Depot's way of saying thanks for what we do.
Wow, good deal, good deal.
And they're gonna spruce up the whole memorial outside for us.
You've come to my house.
Yeah. And while we were here, she asked if I knew a veteran who was in need, and I couldn't think of offhand, so I called the local VA clinic, and there happened to be a veteran who was there, talked to their daughter, and they're gonna be helping with refurbishing their bathroom and handicap ramp for their house free of charge, and redoing theirs. So, yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So, yeah, taking care of our veterans and stuff, so.
That's great,
Yeah.
that's great.
Good job, Flo.
So, good job, Flo, very good job.
Yeah.
And special thank you to Home Depot.
Home Depot, yeah, taking care of the
Home
community.
Depot, taking care of our monument, the community, and I
And our
encourage
veterans, yeah.
all of our residents to shop at Home Depot and return the favor.
Thank them, thank you very
And
much.
thank them. Okay, other than that, that's all we have for tonight. I'll move that we go into executive session regarding potential litigation update, that we invite Attorney Plotsky to come into that executive session, and the executive session starts at 9 o'clock. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all opposed? Motion carried 3-0. And I'll move that we are in recess until 9 o'clock. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Trovey. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all opposed? And motion carried 3-0. Thank you very much, everyone, and have a wonderful night.